Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Nikki Glaser has seen Taylor Swift 9 times and spoke to the spokesman.com about it. Nikki said, "Seeing Taylor Swift is part of my self-care. Her show's an antidepressant for me. I feel amazing during and after her concert, so it's worth it to me. I've been judged by people close to me for going to so many shows. 9's not a lot. Do you know how many times I've seen Springsteen? But some people spend this amount of money on sporting events. I go to see Taylor Swift, since she brings me the most joy in the world, aside from my nieces and nephews. Aww. They're all hooked like I am. If you see Taylor live once, you get it. I've seen Taylor once. I get it. Nikki spent $14,000 on a front row ticket. Not me. $60 upper deck." Glaser says, "It sounds crazy to spend that much money on tickets." Yes, it does. "But I don't own a home. I don't own a car. I don't spend any money on myself. It was worth it. I was in the front row. I cried. I didn't want to distract her." She's okay. Don't worry about it. Also, since you saw the show, you know if you're in the front row, she was behind you for 90% of the show. If you didn't see Taylor last summer, there's a big thing down the middle of the stadium, and Taylor most of the time is on the 50-yard line. So I'm glad you spent $14,000 to have to turn around and watch her from 49 yards away. Stop hating, Johnny Mac. Nikki said, "I was in the front row. I cried, but I didn't want to distract her. I have the same phone case as her, and I didn't want her to see it. You know, there's Taylor. She's singing Karma. She sees Nikki Glaser there crying and goes, 'We have the same phone,' and Taylor gets all distracted and messes up the concert and goes viral." Nikki said, "I follow an account to know what she owns since it makes me feel closer to her. I studied how she plays guitar. I see how she places her pinky finger over her ring finger when she's doing a G chord. I'm so close to her that I could see her arm hair, which is beautiful." Nikki isn't sure if she wants to meet Taylor Swift. Oh, I'm pretty sure you want to meet Taylor Swift. Come on. Nikki said, "I don't want her to calm me down and say, 'It's okay,' while I'm shaking and I'm saying, 'You mean so much to me.' What I love about Taylor is that she's always present at her shows. During a concert in Philadelphia, Taylor noticed a fan being manhandled by a security guard while singing Bad Blood. Nikki said of that day, 'I have that scene memorized from watching the video from Philadelphia when Taylor said, "Stop it, she didn't do anything, let her go. She's so cute, she's looking out for us, but I get it, she cares about her fans. I care so much about my fans too. My fans who come out to see me and listen to my podcast know me like my family doesn't. Since my family doesn't listen to my podcast, I always appreciate my fans, so I'm always present. Sometimes you're tired when you're performing and you think about what you'll eat after the show or what your travel days like the next day, where somebody in this front row has the same phone case as you. But I clear my mind from these thoughts and focus on the people who support what I do. I'm like Taylor in that I want my fans who come out to my shows to have the best time possible." The article points out if you haven't seen Nikki in a few years, she doesn't talk about sex like she used to. Nikki said, "I'm in my latest 30, as I put it. Sex just isn't interesting to me anymore. I don't know if it's my hormones or whatever. I'm just not that titillated by it. And I've explored it enough. It used to be 90% of my act, but it's not that way anymore. You get older, you grow, you change, and change is good." Bit News asked Gianmarco Ceresi, "Do you think AI will come for comedy?" I've actually interviewed Gianmarco Ceresi on this very podcast. I wouldn't have gotten to that question if I had 9 hours. But Gianmarco fielded it. Boy, I'm feisty today. Gianmarco fielded it and said, "Writing jokes, absolutely, but live entertainment, I think part of the energy of comedy is the same reason AI won't take over sports. There'd be no fun in watching robots compete against each other." Oh, I don't know about that at all. Imagine some live version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. That'd be great. It's about the imperfection of it all. So yeah, do I think AI will write jokes? Do I think some comedians on stage will use material written by AIs? Sure. But ultimately, the thing that makes live entertainment exciting is to see a living, breathing human being who's flawed trying to do something on stage. That's the excitement of it. I think people were scared when all those holograms of Michael Jackson going on tour were going to end the entertainment industry. Obviously not, because they didn't. Because you want to see a real human being up there. You want to know they were alive before the show, they were alive after the show, you could touch them in theory. I feel really optimistic about it, frankly. If AI starts pumping out every TV show under the sun and creates a bunch of schlock, live entertainment will just thrive because it'll feel that much more unique in the landscape. Leanne Morgan waxed poetically with Forbes about being a storyteller. Leanne said, "Honey, I don't know how else to do it. My parents are both good storytellers, and my grandparents were. That's just how I do it, you know? I grew up outside of Nashville, and I'd see a lot of country music stars. Minnie Pearl, Roy Acuff, Porter Wagoner, Dolly Parton. Probably more than comedy. I always loved Joan Rivers, David Letterman, Jay Leno, Kevin Meaney. I love them all. The whole art of it. I always wondered, what if I was like Jerry Seinfeld and I could write a joke about a cotton ball? Does Jerry have a joke about a cotton ball? Now I want to see if the AI can write one. Let's see. Let's combine the last two stories. I'm jumping on ChatGPT here. Write a joke in the style of Jerry Seinfeld about a cotton ball. All right, ChatGPT said, "Why do cotton balls look so calm? Because they've already been through the spin cycle. That's terrible. I asked ChatGPT for 5 more, and it actually came up with one I could see a comedian doing. Cotton balls are amazing, aren't they? They're like the only thing in your bathroom that doesn't have a purpose. Toothbrush for teeth, soap for washing, but cotton balls, just sitting there, sitting pretty, waiting for a chance to be slightly useful. A proper comedian could nail that. See, Gianmarco Ceresi, where were we? Leon Morgan wanted to be like Jerry Seinfeld, telling cotton ball jokes. She said, my set is more things that have happened to me. Leon's got a book coming out in 2024 called What in the World? And she said, let me tell you, I wanted to talk about all my sins in the 80s. And my literary agent says, you know what? You're not Joan Crawford yet. So these are funny essays to introduce me to the world, funny essays about my life. It's about me getting started selling jewelry in women's houses and being married to Chuck Morgan in the mobile home business in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, being raised in a town of 500 people in a farming community and telling everybody, oh, I'm going to be a movie star. They probably thought I was crazy. At times I thought I was crazy. I was so cute in the 80s. I thought this was going to happen for me when I was younger and thinner, but it's okay. I think that's part of God's plan, that I was supposed to go through menopause before this happened. Got to raise my children and raise them in Tennessee, and they're who they're supposed to be. And I think it might not have been that way otherwise, and Chuck Morgan is tickled that I'm adding to our retirement. The Sioux City Journal wrote about the openers for Shane Gillis. They went to a Shane Gillis show and wrote about the openers. They liked them. They said, like his openers, Lemaire Lee and Mary Rudzinski, Shane Gillis wasn't afraid to talk about going to McDonald's, playing high school football, and getting back on Snapchat. Rudzinski went over the crowd immediately with the joke, I don't like girl comedians either. That's good. She detailed a 10-year relationship with her boyfriend. Her joke, he says, I love you. She says, I love you more. And he says, probably. Lemaire Lee leaned into the night's demographic, addressing characters in video games, cartoons, and the Bible, joking, it's very boring, but if you read it in an African accent, it sounds like The Lion King. Jesse David Fox is out doing press about his new book. He caught up with The Guardian, who said Fox is hopeful about the future. He's excited about the rise of stand-ups like Mitra Johari, Brittany Carney, Zach Zimmerman, and Jay Jordan, who discuss their complex identities and serve as a pushback against the dominant form of stand-up, which minimizes a comic story in favor of a wall of jokes. Fox feels the existence of this alternative group is essential to the health of the medium, and hails work like Hannah Gadsby's Nanette, which is painfully human and earnest. In contrast to what we've been taught makes comedy successful, Fox says, I think comedy benefits from a continual pushback against how it's done. I always want there to be an alternative group, because the truth is mainstream comedy tends to be a manifestation of what was happening previously. Veered Oz told MoneyControl.com, when I started as a stand-up comedian, YouTube had just started, so access to audience was limited. Right now, a new comic can put 5 minutes of material on Instagram and get millions of views. Earlier, you had to do a movie so that people knew your name and come watch your show. Now there's no middleman, no Godfather, no marketing agency. I get to directly reach my audience, and that's the best time to be a comic. Jess Tom spoke to Autostraddle, who asked, does your family have a Google alert for you? Jess said, I don't think my family knows what Google alert is. It's super weird because they come to see my show sometimes, and my mom learns a lot about me from my comedy. When I did an earlier version of Less Lonely in San Francisco, afterwards, my mom immediately said, TMI. The Boston Globe asked Alex Edelman if you could travel anywhere, where? The answer, London. It's my second home. It's foreign and exotic all at the same time. I know the people there. I love it. I can't get enough. The food and the museums get the worst rap. The museums are awesome. Don't lecture me. I also listen to stuff the British stole. I get it, but the museums are good. First place he went after COVID. Alex said, I drove to Zion in Utah. I'm a desert guy. I love slot canyons. My girlfriend at the time and I hiked the Narrows together. It was just absolutely wonderful. Best snack for a flight or a road trip? Alex says, Butterfingers. Can't get enough. That's your comedy news for today. If you like the show, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Throw some money in the tip jar. Today's Wednesday, so I'll go to the brewery and I'll buy a beverage with it while I play trivia. I have finished, not me, my team. I'm on the team. We have finished second last 2 weeks in a row. It's the worst run we've had. Maybe tonight we'll turn it around. All right, see you tomorrow.